and thank you for coming to the lunch video for the Master Gardeners program, When Vegetables Are Ripe and the Best Way to Prepare Your Food. So with that, I highly recommend copying the first couple links that are on this first page in order to get you some really good resources. I've compiled a lot of resources that are available to you to be able to go back to within this presentation. So if you have any questions or comments, I would love to hear what they might be. And this first slide will take you to a link when your vegetables are ripe. The second one is preserving your food in different ways. The third one is to the USDA hardiness information, and the rest is on the picking fruits and vegetables. What you will learn is where to get more information, who to call if you have questions, where you can take classes for the Master Gardeners program, what tools do you need to harvest, when do you harvest, so to know by looking at them when they are ripe, and what to do with it now that you've got it picked, whether you can use it for fresh or frozen. I have not including drying in this information, but that is available on the USDA website. And then storing your vegetables. There are some ways for storing your vegetables without refrigeration, of which I will also highlight within the presentation. And with that, we will go ahead and get started. The one thing to always remember is two things. Number one, keep it simple, make it fun, and never expect your vegetable gardens to look like they are selling in the stores. That's totally unrealistic expectations. And so as not to be disappointed in yourself or your gardening as you are learning, remember it is a scientific experiment and we all learn as we go. So again, homegrown food will never look like what you buy in the store, but it will always taste much better. WSU Home Gardening has a free download available for you whenever you may need additional information. The Cowlitz County Master Gardeners Program and the Extension Service has extensive information and support available to you through both the Plant and Insect Clinic as well as the Master Gardeners Program. We also have these videos and workshops available on our website as well as for other counties on our website. Here are some other quick links that you may want to become familiar with. And they are for WSU, OSU, as well as the seed companies have information on when to harvest, how long to harvest, and what tools to use. I also have in here an example of what the tools should look like that you are going to use to harvest. Always make sure that whatever you are harvesting your food with is clean and sanitary. You're going to wash your vegetables before you take them in the house, and then again, you're going to wash them before you go to prepare your food. Storing vegetables and fruits at home. This publication offers basic essentials for storing vegetables and fruits in cellars, basements, or other areas without using refrigeration, which can be very helpful. Freezing fruits and vegetables. There is a flyer available from WSU for freezing your fruits and vegetables. That can be very helpful, especially to new people that are just getting started with food preservation. One major thing to remember when you are freezing or drying or canning vegetables, the texture is almost always going to change. So you want to make sure that you have reasonable expectations for what those things are going to look like. If you are drying, make sure that they are dry and crisp. If you are freezing, make sure that you have a very limited amount of air within the items that you are freezing, whether that be your bags or other containers that you may be using. What tools do you need? Basically, you will need a spade, a rake, a hoe, a trowel, some scissors, and some hand pruners. And instead of going in and just digging into your regular garden tools that probably look like what is here on the left-hand side of your screen, they should always be clean, dirt-free, rust-free, because remember, you are harvesting for your food. If you buy food from the grocery store, that's already been done for you. Here, we're doing it ourselves. You want to have a container, a brush to remove excess dirt, a water hose or bucket, something for putting the dirt outside so it doesn't go down your drain. And then before you even get started harvesting, you want to make sure that you have planned for your vegetables harvest and what you're going to do with it before you use it. Post-harvest food safety considerations are every bit as important as putting your seed in the ground or making sure that you water, because you don't want anything to impede the sanitation or food poisoning. You want to avoid food poisoning from you and your family. When to harvest. Morning, when vegetables are dry, plump, and sweet, is the best time to pick, whether for fresh or for preserving. In these two slides, I have the information regarding when is the best time to harvest each individual listing. And on those, you can also go to WSU's, the Publication Extension website that is listed below, in order to find out what is going to be the harvest time for the area that we live in within Washington. It can be very helpful, especially for new gardeners. When are vegetables ripe? We use what is there coming from Master Gardeners in Spokane because it is very helpful. Beans, when they are dry, for dried beans, wait until the production stops. The pods are well filled. They should feel nice and plump, and they should be nice and dry. Oops, sorry, went too far. For green beans, when the pods snap readily, but the tips are still pliable and the small beans inside are about a quarter of their normal size. That way they will be nice and sweet. And those are good for fresh or frozen. Beets, start picking beets when they are medium, 1.5 to 2 inches. If they get much bigger than 3 inches, then they can become very woody. Again, they're good fresh, frozen, or depending on other ways that you may like to pickle them. Broccoli, when the stalks are firm but tender and the flowerets that are on the top are tight and dark. You want to make sure that you pick them before they start to yellow at all, so that you're not picking them overripe when the flowers start to open. Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts, you remove the lowest leaves for bigger sprouts and pick when the sprouts are firm, compact, and bright green. You want to get them before they start to yellow. And you always want to harvest from the bottom because they will continue to grow even after your first or second frost. Cabbage, the heads should be firm when they're squeezed and heavy in their size. You want to harvest them before they're splitting. The early varieties are pointed and conical and may be harvested when the heads are about 3/4 of the way developed. Late varieties should be fully developed and firm. cantaloupe, also known as muskmelon, and the same for most melons, are ready when the fruit smells sweet and the stem gives under pressure from your finger, and the fruit separates easily from the stem. The base color of the rind should be the same color as the netting that is on the outside that you see. Carrots, sugar content is higher in the mature roots when they're inch to 2 inches, but the younger ones are more tender. Eating at once or preserving, pickle when they're small and firm and well colored. And it doesn't matter what kind of carrot that they are. And the same is true for other types of root products like salsify. The same applies. Cauliflower, cover the heads 4 to 12 days before the harvest when the heads are about 2/3 of an inch in diameter by tying up the outer leaves around the heads that minimizes the discoloration from the sun, and the heads should be clean and white. If when you are cooking a purple type, it will also usually turn white or light yellow. Corn, you want to pick when the silks turn dark and are completely dry. The tip of the ear is rounded out with kernels. You should be able to put your thumb on the end of your corn and see if it's nice and plump. If it's nice and plump and you can easily puncture it with your thumb, then it is ready. If not, it may still be a little tough. You may want to wait a couple more days. Cucumbers are best when they were slightly immature because the seeds will be smaller and they are much more tender. Ones that are past their prime are usually large and puffy and they can begin to yellow. You can still use them, but most people like to remove the seeds if they get much bigger than about 5 to 8 inches long. Pickling cucumbers are short and stocky and not as long. Just going back one more about when you're pickling cucumbers, you want to make sure that there are no blemishes that are showing because that can actually contaminate your solution, your pickling solution. So you want to make sure that your whatever it is that you're pickling is blemish free and that is on the young side with no deterioration or yellowing. Eggplant, you want to harvest when the fruits are about 1/3 to 2/3 of the way fully grown, when the color is still bright and shiny. Jerusalem artichokes. You can dig them anytime at the end of the season before the ground freezes or in early spring before their growth starts. You want to make sure that you collect all of the tubers because they can become weedy or woody. Green onions or shallots. Best to pick one 1/4 to 1/2 of an inch in diameter for the freshest table use, and 1 to 1 1/2 inches for boiling or pickling shallots. They are so versatile. They are extremely good as are green onions and celery for just when you cut the bottoms off, replanting them. And you can turn around and keep growing all year long and keep growing from the same plants, which can be very helpful. Peas are best when they're still bright green and the pods are well filled. Bell peppers, the fruits are firm, full size, and have a shiny skin when they're in their prime. Hot peppers, usually grown in a warm climate or when you're growing more slowly in cool weather. Harvest when they appear to be the size that you're looking for. Again, if you have any blemishes, you want to make sure that those are removed before you take them out of the garden. Potatoes, for early or new potatoes, sorry. For earlier new potatoes, harvest as soon as they are large enough, but dig potatoes for storage after the tops have died down. If they are greenish or sunburned, you should put them back in a dark place until the green portion has disappeared. Always cut away any green portions of a potato. If you are canning small potatoes, again, make sure that the ones that you are canning are brown, that they do not have any green in them before they are pickled or preserved. Pumpkins, you want to harvest when the color is good all over and the fruits give off a sharp thud when you hit them with your knuckles. The base of the fruit is in contact with the ground. It should be golden when fully ripe, not white. So you want to harvest pumpkins or summer other similar squash before the first harvest when the vines start to dry. Rhubarb, you can cut leaf stems anytime that they are large enough. Throw away or compost the leaves, which are poisonous when eaten. They make great breads, pies, stir fry, and they can be used fresh or frozen. I just tried drying some this last year, and that worked out really well as well. Rutabagas, you can dig anytime that they are large enough, from 3 to 6 inches, or until the ground freezes. They become dry and woody if the soil moisture is inadequate. And they're extremely good fresh, frozen. Spinach, pick only the young leaves or just the tips of the older leaves. Generally, they are 3 to 4 inches long and they can be used for salads. They're good in soups. You can use spinach for just about anything, and they are very, very hardy. Also, if you have Swiss chard that you leave in the ground, that will come back the next year as well. Swiss chard, as soon as the leaves are big enough to pick, you can harvest them. And if you keep harvesting them, they will keep growing back. And that's again good for your salads or any other thing, and then they can be fresh or frozen. Squash, you want to pick when they're small to moderate in size. Color's good. Rind is easily dented with your thumbnail. If the end of them has some damage or discoloration, cut that off. Um, Best to do that if you do that when you're out in a garden so nothing else is contaminated. But even if the end of them looks like they may have a problem because they've had too much sun, not enough water, they are still good for eating fresh or frozen. Tomatoes. You want to pick ripe tomatoes will come off the vine easily without pulling. You shouldn't have to pull a tomato. If you gently, gently grab them and they come off of the vine with your thumb and your index finger, they're ripe. Size is no indication of maturity in tomatoes, especially with all the different varieties that we now use. Turnips are best when they are moderate in size. They're firm, they're fairly heavy, but can be harvested from an inch on. You don't want to leave them in the ground too long because overground turnips are tough and woody and they can have a really strong flavor. They can withstand a light frost, but if they have gotten frozen and then they're still in the ground, they can definitely deteriorate in their quality. They're still edible, but again, the quality is not as good. Watermelons. They are ripe when you tap on the side and you give a low, dull thud. A sharp or solid sound means that they're not quite mature. The bottom of a ripe melon should be golden yellow. I also have some other ways that you can cook outside of just on your stove or indoors. And again, you can roast your corn or other vegetables outside or on a campfire. Grilling them is a great way to eat any kind of fresh vegetable, as long as, again, it's been cleaned twice. And there are also some market fresh recipes that are available on this link that we have right here from WSU, and they're fabulous. Some additional resources for home harvest we have here for the food preservation record link, that if you want to keep a record of the things that you have preserved with dates and how they were preserved, if you use less sugar, if you used a different brine than you normally use, a preservation food record is a absolute must. You always want to make sure that you are rotating any preserved canned food or frozen food that you have used, as well as your dried, so that that preservation record can be a very, very good tool for food safety considerations. We have a WSU General Master Gardening List is also here for your convenience. Home Vegetable Gardening in Washington, that series that is available through the WSU website, also is here for you. Also, How to Freeze Fruits and Vegetables is also the link that is available for you here on the bottom. Does anyone have any questions? We will keep going. Thank you for coming today for this 2025 online Harvesting Your Garden workshop. It would be great if you could go ahead and complete the evaluation that Heidi is able to provide for you. I believe that you have a separate link from what I have here on the Harvesting Your Garden.
I have that in the chat. Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. I also have some additional references from what this was completed on for you. This recording will be available for you on the Master Gardeners website if you have any questions. Also, again, your USDA and WSU Master Gardeners website has a lot of fabulous information available for you, both for planting, planning, seeding, your soil, all of your questions, as well as your harvesting the garden. Look forward to any questions that you may have or any comments. Thank you for coming today.